The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Today's lesson introduces 6 characters, all of which contain a pictogram derived from Gao in lesson 28. If you recall, Gao was the drawing of a large temple where the ruler's ancestors were worshipped. Today's series of characters are similar in that they represent a tall, temple-like structure on a hill, thought to be the watchtower of a fortified city. Incorporated into the structure is the phonetic ding, the nail, which emphasizes the strength and sturdiness of the tower itself. This character is pronounced first tone, jing, jing, and is the character for a national capital. Here are 2 current or former Chinese capitals and 1 Japanese. Beijing, the capital of China, literally the northern capital. By the way, many people mistakenly pronounce it Beijing, as if it were a French J sound. That's obviously incorrect. The pronunciation is much closer to the English J sound. Beijing. Nanjing, originally spelled Nanking in the West, has been China's capital several times over the centuries, and is now the capital of Jiangsu province. Dongjing, of course, is the capital of Japan, Tokyo. The second character in today's lesson takes jing as the phonetic and adds the sun radical on top. It's pronounced third tone, jing, jing. From its original meaning of a bright sun high in the sky, it has expanded to include both natural scenery and the settings in a movie, as in the following examples. 四面包围冰天雪地的奇景 The extraordinary sight of ice and snow all around. 他8月必须去泰国拍外景 He has to go to Thailand in August to shoot on location. Literally, shoot outdoor scenes. From natural views and movie scenery, the bright sun high above extends to the economic sphere, where it means a bright economic view, a booming economy with optimistic prospects. However, by adding the negative 不, it becomes a recession with a gloomy outlook. 中国是走向不景气吗? Is China headed for a recession? This could be the title of a news article. 生意不景气，员工出走是不得已的. Given the drop in business, our employees had no choice but to quit. 生意不景气，使得日子雪上加霜. This slump in business has made our lives even worse than before. Notice the new 4-character idiom, 雪上加霜, literally to add frost onto snow, which means one disaster follows on the heels of another. Our third character today combines jing as phonetic with 3 side strokes, indicating a vague outline. It's pronounced third tone, ying, ying, and means the sun high above has thrown a shadow, reflection, or image. 我在看水中月亮的影子. I'm looking at the reflection of the moon in the water. 在大街上一个人影也没有. There wasn't a soul to be seen on the main street. When paired with the character for electricity, we get the expression for a film or a movie, 电影。我们去看电影好不好？ Let's go see a movie, okay? The verb for to take a photograph or to shoot a film is 拍, thought to be the sound of burning powder used to provide the flash of light needed in old photographs. 她的小说已拍成电影了。Her novel has already been made into a movie. Obviously, 拍电影 here means to shoot a movie. A movie star in Mandarin is 影星, as in this example. 他的女友是有名的影星. His girlfriend is a famous movie star. The fourth character in today's lesson pairs the water radical with 经 as its phonetic, but with a sound change. It's pronounced second tone. 凉, 凉. How can etymologists say that jing is the phonetic when there is such a noticeable discrepancy in pronunciation? The explanation lies in the fact that ancient Chinese used to have many more consonant clusters and far fewer homonyms than today. Phonologists believe that the ancient pronunciation of jing was giang, with the a disappearing in ging and later jing, while in other characters the g also changed to a y sound, resulting in ying for shadow and liang. This new character, liang, contains the water radical, while jing refers to a high up on a hill or mountain, where a watchtower or fortified city would normally be built, and where the water is cool. The meaning of 凉, 天气凉了, the weather has turned chilly, so you'd best take your jacket. 山顶上有个小凉亭, there's a small wayside shelter at the top of the mountain. And food can become cold or be served cold, as in these two examples. 包子凉了，不好吃. Hurry up and eat the meat buns before they get cold. 你们可以吃凉面或牛肉面. You can have a cold noodle salad or beef noodle soup. Cold noodles here refers to a tasty Chinese dish of cold noodles, shredded chicken with slivers of cucumber and carrot, dressed in a sesame or peanut sauce. The fifth character is a variation on the fourth one, with the water replaced by the sun radical. And pronounced fourth tone, 亮, 亮. It means to dry something in the sun or in the wind, sometimes referring to dehydrating vegetables, but more often meaning to hang clothing out to dry. It just so happens that we have an article of clothing from the characters learned so far, 背心, which is the term for a sleeveless vest, literally a garment worn with both front and back against the heart. 外面的天气好，你背心去晾一晾. It's a fine day out. You go hang the vests out to dry. And now for the most important character in today's lesson, a combination of the pointing index finger from lesson 31, 有, plus 经, the watchtower of a fortified town on a hill. It's pronounced fourth tone, 就, 就. You might recall that 有 originated as an accusatory pointing finger at an offender, which naturally is thrust in the direction of the accused. Combine that with the fortified town on a hill, and you could conceivably picture the scenario of travelers pointing to their destination, that town up on the hill. Whether the actual origin or not, the image is helpful in recalling the sense of immediately approaching this very spot, where this very person does this very thing. Compare these two opposite notions. 才, emphasizing late action, and 就, stressing early action. 我天亮才走. I'm not leaving until dawn. 我天亮就走. I'm leaving right at dawn. 他马上就来. He'll be right here. He's coming right away. With 本来, meaning of course or originally, we acknowledge the situation from the start. 你本来就不需要我了. You never actually did need me. You were just trying to be nice at the start of our relationship. 我本来就不能骑马. I never said I could ride a horse. That's been true from the beginning. Who told you that I could? And here's 就是 for emphasis. 扒手就是他. That's him. That's the pickpocket. 不是他就是你. It's either him or you. Literally, not him, then you. 也就是说, that is to say, what I'm really trying to say is, and here is an example, telling it like it is, often spoken with a little irritation in the voice. 丢了就丢了. If it's lost, it's lost. What can you do? 不要就不要. If you don't want to, that's fine with me. What do I care? 就地 means on the spot, at this very location. 本家的肉是就地加工的. Our meats are processed right here locally. 本家 means this company, our firm. 上面已说定要就地找员工. Those high up in the company have decided to recruit staff locally. In other words, the managers. The pattern 一就 is used to emphasize two actions happening one immediately after the other. 她一开门就尖叫了. As soon as she opened the door, she screamed. 她一生气就骂人. Whenever he gets angry, he starts yelling at everybody. Another pattern is 就是也, which stresses that even though something may be true, it still doesn't change what follows. 就是她说的，我也不信. Even if she said that, I still don't believe it. 就是下大雨，她也要去. Even when it's pouring down rain, he'll still go. When combined with 成, we have the expression for an accomplishment. 成就. Literally, to achieve this very position, arrive at this very place in your career. 你的书拍成电影是好大的成就. The fact that your book has been made into a movie is quite an accomplishment. And lastly, 就我看 emphasizes that this is my personal viewpoint, and mine alone. 就我看下雨天多, 电影外景拍不成. As I see it, what with all this rainy weather, you won't be able to shoot outdoor scenes. This last slide is a possible sense development for 就. Here is our color chart with today's 6 characters. 金 景, liang, liang, ying, and jiu. And this is the takeaway from today's lesson. 1. The character for a national capital is Jing, originally a watchtower on a fortified hill or mountaintop. Beijing was originally transliterated as Peking before 1929. In the 1970s, the Chinese government decided to no longer accept all the many foreign spellings of Chinese place names. And these place names were in use around the world. The world's news agencies and reporters just had to get used to it. And for the most part, they did. There are exceptions, however, such as France, which continues to say Pekin. 2. With the sun above the watchtower, the character Jing means the scenery all around, whether natural or man-made, as in a film. Qijing means an unusual or extraordinary sight. Weijing refers to the natural scenery outside of a movie studio. And the originally bright, optimistic view of the economy is more often encountered in the negative, 不景气, meaning an economic recession or downturn. 3. When 3 slashes are added to the right of Jing, it becomes Ying, the character for a vague image, a shadow. If electricity is added, we obtain the phrase for a film or a movie, 电影. For the verb to shoot a movie, Chinese uses first tone, 拍, 拍电影. A movie star is 影星. 4. With the addition of the water radical, Jing becomes liang, meaning the water coming from the hills or mountains, which is naturally much cooler. This can describe cool weather or wind, cold food, or even disappointment. 我的心凉了. When your enthusiasm has cooled and reality has set in. 5. When the sun replaces the water radical, we have the character for drying food or clothing in the sun. Fourth tone, 亮. 6. By far the most useful character in this lesson is 就, a finger pointing at the watchtower on a hill, arrival at one's destination. Its basic purpose is to emphasize proximity, how near something is, either physically or with respect to time. Its opposite concept is the character 才 from lesson 4. There are plenty of examples which you should go back and review one by one. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.